Hi guys, I'm just making this video to show you how I plan my lessons with Freedcamp and how you might be able to use it as well, and some of the things that it can do for you. I'm working on just barely starting planning next year's group of lessons that we're going to be working on. And the place that all of this starts is this project board. This little button right here at the top will always bring you back to your projects. And I've created a group of projects for the next year. I can see them all this way. You can see it down here. I have last year's project group. And so this is just easy, just add a project. And you can, name it whatever you want, give it a color. But I have all my projects set up that I think I'm going to need. And I'm going to show you here is a task list. Again, these little buttons are up here at the top. This one will bring you to your task board, and that'll bring you in. If you just go on that button, it'll take you to all of your tasks, and you can choose your filters by project group, however you want to do that. Or you can come up here and you can choose your project, and that'll bring you just to the tasks for that project. So I have filtered out last year's project group because I don't want to be giving away anyone's proprietary information. And so I'm using the sample week from Torchlight for level 2, just to show you how I set this up. And level 2 is what we're working on, so what we're going to be doing next year. And so I've done part of the planning for week 1 already in here. We'll talk in a minute about how I've arranged the tasks in the list, but first I'll just show you where you can add a new task list, and that'll let you give it a title, task list, a description if you want to add any additional information to it, save the list, and then once you have your list, you can add tasks, task 1, task 2, and in here you have a lot of options. You can add your comments, so if there's something from Torchlight notes that is something shorter that you don't mind typing out a little bit of the detail for, let's see, like if you want to put like a note like this, you want to just type that in. That's one way of adding those kind of notes in here. Another way to add those in is to attach a screen capture, which I did on this one. I just took a screen capture and then I attached it and had the option to add that image right here where I can see it when I click on the task, and I can get all the details. And I can edit the task from this space here, or you can get to edit it from here. Here's where you could add subtasks, and then all of these can be dragged and moved around to wherever you would like to drop them. Also, down when you're adding the task, you can add a start date and a due date here, but you don't have to yet. And what I like to do is to not add the due dates, until I'm actually ready to plan for those lessons and add them to my calendar. So if I had all my lessons here and I wanted to plan our history for next week, and this is what I was wanting to do, I could say, I can just get my dates, and you can add just a start date, just a due date, or you can add both, which is helpful if you want to stretch something out over a week or two or more, if you're working on memorizing a poem or something like that. But for now, I'm just going to add these dates, and what I'm doing here is I'm adding them to this little list. So I have this whole week here, and then I can just drag them over and say, and divide it up in whatever way makes sense for my week. And you can see, and if I drag something on top, let's say I didn't want to put, want to do this on the 6th instead, I can just drag this and that'll replace it. So there we have some dates assigned to these tasks. And then you can come to the calendar board, which is really my command center here. And you can look, and this will populate it again like the task list. You can filter it by project group, by specific project, more than, you can pick 2 projects you want to see on there, or 3, or all of them. And then you can drag these around too. So if you want to do that on a different day, you just drag it over, drag them around to where you want them to go. And the beauty of Freedcamp, thing that I love so much about it, is, let's say we all just weren't feeling it today, on Monday. Let's say we just had a rough day and none of this happened. So instead of having to drag all of these to different dates or go in and edit all the dates, we can click on this, and this is a nice little pop-up window. When you click on a task on the calendar, it'll pop up and give you the notes on it. But we view the item, and then we can come back to the task list this way, or you can navigate back to the task list with the button. There's a lot of different ways to get around. But then you take this, so for this whole list, you can just shift the dates. So if I want to shift, nothing got done on Monday, I'm going to shift everything one day forward. I want to skip the weekends, and I can just reschedule. So then everything in this whole task list has just been shifted by one day. If I come back to my calendar board, you'll see they've all been shifted. And I may have to look at August to see, there you go. So they've all been shifted by one day. The weekend has been skipped. My life is easy. I don't have to do a whole bunch of weird rescheduling. Just move everything forward. Let's see, the other thing that I did want to show you guys is on the task board. I know Trello is really popular, and I used that for a while, and my wrist just got really tired of dragging things around. My hand got tired. But if you do like that style, you have it available to you here in the Kanban view. You have your group of tasks. So this would be like your card, your week 1 card. You could drag that over to in progress. You can check off the things as you complete them. And in progress, completed. And when you're done, you can drag this whole thing over to completed. and you still can pull up, you know, the bit expanded view of all these things. Looks like we're having something going wrong. That's okay. The other thing that they have is another view would be the Gantt chart, which I have not used. It's very interesting. I suppose it could be helpful, but I just haven't gotten into really understanding how this whole thing works. And when I do look at it for like my whole year's worth of planning, it's just very big. So I prefer the list, and then let's see, we can see our completed tasks. We can restart them. Put them back here. Let's see if we accidentally checked them or something. So I guess the last thing just to talk about is a few little tips about how to arrange these. I found out very quickly that it is wise to make a note of what curriculum you're pulling your activity from and which week. So if you need to go back and reference it, you can find it easily, and so that you don't just have something that says week 1 on your calendar board, because then you will have no idea what it is that you were talking about. So I like to make sure that I have that somewhere. So sometimes if there are things that align between like the literature and the history, or something like that, or the myth, like last year with level 1 Torchlight, it was the mythology and the history that kind of align. And so if you just make a note for those items of which week it's supposed to be, then when you're doing your scheduling and adding your dates, you can find easily the things that are supposed to go together, so you can make sure you schedule those on the same week. I have a paid version. I got it on a Black Friday sale, a really good deal. But even so, it's not expensive for the lowest tier of the paid version, and then you get unlimited nested tasks and recurring tasks. You can create a recurring task, which is great. Super helpful to be able to do the recurring tasks for things like piano practice or a class that happens once a week or something like that that you want to include in here and make sure you have on your calendar. With the history, because I am using Torchlight, and I'm also pulling some from Build Your Library, some from History Odyssey, and probably will pull from History Quest once that the new book comes out for that. My son really enjoys history, so we do a lot of it. Last year when I started with Freedcamp, I was using the free version, and so I couldn't do these nested tasks this way, and I had arranged things a bit differently in this board. And this time I've decided to do 6-week blocks, and then have subtasks for each different curriculum, and put those under the week. So I have Torchlight week 1, and then I'm pulling from these lessons from Build Your Library, or these weeks from Build Your Library, these lessons from History Odyssey, or things that are going to kind of match up with this, and I'll just pull in the activities that we might use here. So what I like to do is to load everything as much as I can to the task lists, onto the projects, and then I can just treat it like a buffet each week or a couple of weeks when I sit down to plan ahead, or even a month ahead, and just assign dates for the different tasks. If there's one seems like aren't going to want to do, or isn't going to work that week, then I don't schedule it, or I can schedule it later. And if something is on the schedule, we just decide it's just not going to work out at all, it looks like it's going to just cause a lot of drama, then I can just delete the due date or the start date and take it completely off the calendar, and it won't show up on the calendar at all once you do that. So if we come back to the calendar and refresh, you can see I deleted some of the dates there, and those activities are just gone. And I think that is about it. That's how I do it. You can use the free version, definitely. I did that for a while. I used the free version, and it was perfectly serviceable. It's just nice to be able to nest the tasks a little bit, or create a recurring task, which looks like this. You just say repeat, and then you have all these options for how often, when to repeat it, and but yeah, then you can load in everything. You can make a list of all your math lessons that you have, and then just add them in to your calendar as far ahead as you want, and you can always shift your dates if you get behind or ahead. You can shift things around. It's just super easy to have the flexibility to be able to move the whole list of tasks instead of having to manually drag things around, or with a paper planner erase and rewrite, or flip back to previous pages. Oh, and you may have noticed I'm using these little hashtags here, and that's just a note to myself. It's just how I let myself know that this is a book that I need to make sure that I have. Usually there are library books that I need to check out, or something that I don't have that I might have to order on Amazon. And then what I do is, once that book has been ordered or placed on hold at the library, I'll go ahead and mark it as in progress. And then once we're done reading it, I'll go ahead and check it as complete. But that's just the easiest way I've found to really kind of help myself stay on top of what books I need to get a hold of. So between this and then making lists in Bibliocommons that tell me what week I need things for, it helps me to hopefully try to keep somewhat on track with getting the books that I need out from the library. So I think that is about it. I hope this is helpful to you. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. And good luck in your lesson planning.